just graduated from the University of Northwestern St. Paul here in Minnesota. I was potentially looking at going into a career of like entrepreneurship, buying and flipping coins. You actually inspired me, Drew, to do that for a little bit. And there was a point of time, like last semester, when I was getting ready, I just didn't have time. I didn't make that much connections now. But now that I'm graduated and everything, I was thinking about going back into it again. And I was just wondering, like, your perspective on just coin, like, the flipping business. Is it still prevalent today? Is it still something that I can do? Like, what's your guys' I know you guys do a lot of like Facebook, Instagram stuff, and I mainly sold through eBay. Well, actually, no, I only sold through eBay. And do you think it's like the best thing for me to do that, like to do through like Facebook, Instagram, and other means besides like eBay or something like that? So yeah.
Well, do you want to start off? Yeah, I could start off. Well, I think the reason why we got into Instagram and Facebook was it gave us those quick connections. The first year it gave us those quick connections, but overall, like long term, it without going to shows and without making content or basically creating value for people in the coin space, it'd be very tedious over a long period of time. Because, Jacob, if you really if you're working past a year into coins and you have, 85 coins in your inventory, I mean, are you going to want to upload 85 times a week to Instagram? Or you want to upload 85 times a week to Facebook? So,
well, I don't necessarily think that's his question. If you were to start off today, we wouldn't use eBay because of
the margins,
the fee difference.
Just the margins on those. Yeah, the margins on eBay is a little bit tougher. Sorry if I didn't answer your question the first time, but yeah, I mean, if you were on eBay and you had even a store, I mean, it takes 8% away from the coin that you would sell. And I think our profit margin last month, after everything was said and done, was around
17.
About 17%. So, if we're already running on 17% margins as a company, and then we push back that 8%, so now we're at 9% profit for that month. It's just harder to row the boat and continue on the business. So, it takes a lot more work to move into Instagram and Facebook, but overall, you're going to be able to meet those connections that you need, either with wholesalers or people that, understand the business and want to buy good coins. But I think if you're wanting to start off, the main thing that you're going to want to do is go to any show that you can that's local, just because you're going to be buying from dealers that are going to price stuff at gray sheet rather than price stuff at what things are actually selling for. So that's
for sure.
It's just a sourcing method that you have to, because you're educated and you understand that you have to try to find something for the most affordable price. So then when you actually go to sell it, you have more of a margin. And in buying stuff online, it ends up working out in a lot of senses. But
what are your thoughts, Blake, on starting on eBay versus Instagram or vice versa?
So eBay, I started selling on eBay in 1999, I think. And when I stopped selling on eBay, we had sold about $5 million of stuff on there.
Oh my goodness.
And when we first started out, it was actually really, really good platform. Both users could leave feedback for each other. There was no one-sided feedback. The fees were super cheap. The fees were insanely cheap. And it was you just get good exposure. Now the structure is completely changed. They favor buyers over the sellers. It's really, really easy for a seller to get screwed over, get ripped off, and eBay won't help or protect them necessarily. The fees are really too high, and the way it's set up, it's it's just really bad for the seller. So, in the long run, I haven't sold on there in a couple of years, maybe 2 years now.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and just all this stuff just piles up and piles up and piles up. and then you get a lot of like we did a lot of auctions and stuff like that, and people would bullshit around and not pay and come up with excuses and all kinds of stuff. So it just in the long run, it's not the best place to sell at. Instagram and Facebook, social media is real good, like, especially the free ones. Free sites, real
Reddit.
good.
I heard a lot of Reddit. Yeah.
Make some YouTube videos. All that, I would utilize all the free social media avenues out there before doing anything on eBay. There's just so much more.
It's free marketing.
There. Yeah, it's completely free for you, and get your name out there.
Aside from the fees with eBay, I mean, there's many different routes when it comes to payment, and you probably already know this. I mean, PayPal is not the only option. I mean, we get around a lot of fees with your Zelle, your Cash App, and physical checks if they trust you. I mean, some of our clients trust us, so they send us physical checks in the mail, and once we get it all processed, then we send all the stuff over.
Yeah, so
For sure.
yeah, I mean, to start off, I would say Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. That's the stuff that we did just to save, like I said, on those margins, but also it was just an outlet where it felt like a lot of people weren't tapping into. And also when you're going for clients, someone with three letters and 4 numbers on eBay is not going to be your client. Somebody that I would say, I like the guy I buy old holders from named Ben Marler. I know his name. I've seen him at the Georgia show twice, and I know who he is. And if I was to sell, a Lincoln that's colorful, that I would sell it to him, right? So that's kind of something that, when you actually get that inventory in from a show, you're not going to say, let me go talk to that random person on eBay or try to find their eBay. You would say, I know where my Mercury dimes go. I know where my old seeded half dollars go. I know where, you just, after a while, it starts to click because all those connections that you made on Facebook, Instagram, and then the ones on YouTube have been really helpful as well, just because a lot of those older guys don't use Instagram and Facebook, and then they see our videos, they kind of, relate to us, and they give me a call or they give me a text, and they send me a check, like I said, because they don't even use cards sometimes. It's kind of interesting.
What's your next question, Jacob?
For sure. How do I start off on like eBay or not eBay, Instagram or Facebook? How did you, I guess, start developing clients? How did you, what's the best routes for? Did you just start posting coins and then just say this is for sale, or did you
So the way I started was I had I was in college, like you used to be before you graduated, and I had 5 Morgan dollars that I bought because I started to like coins, and I had them in my collection. And then I was like, man, what if I had a new coin in my hand every single day of my life, right? And that kind of pushed me into coin dealing. So basically, all I did was I started out on Instagram, and then I followed a few coin accounts. And I was just asking them certain questions, started to talk to people, and then I started to make posts about, almost, I think my second or third post was a sales post. So, I didn't really care back then. I was just kind of, I would join any group I could on Facebook, but on Instagram, I just posted something and then had a lot of coin hashtags, and, if people liked it, they liked it. And I tried to price very comparably and just gain people's trust over time, and that just sometimes just starts with a post on the small scale,
Well, and when it comes to pricing, you probably already know this, gray sheet is very important. And when it comes to social media and networking, if you can find a person on Instagram that is in your area that will meet you at a coin show, and you guys can connect and somewhat create a conglomerate, and then just help each other out and build each other up, that's just it. It helps significantly. What are your thoughts, Blake?
Well, when we started on Instagram, we have a storefront. So, all I saw Instagram was free advertising that I could post pictures of our coins and bullion on, and link people to our shop, and that was the biggest expectation I had for it. Started posting pictures, stuff that comes in. We get cool stuff every day, and then we just started getting a lot of messages on there, and people liking and comments, and more and more people were asking, is it for sale? Is it for sale? And for the first 6 months I was on there, I didn't post anything for sale. I didn't see it as something I was going to sell on. And so about 6 months in, I said, well, there's so many people asking, is this for sale? I might as well just start selling some stuff. So I started posting some things up for sale, and people started buying it. And we would ship stuff out to them, and would do different marketing techniques by like using canvas bags with our name on it. And so when the people would get their purchases, they would post on their page, hey, look what I bought, send a picture. They post a picture of it, and it'd have our bag in there. And and before long, I would just have messages all day long. Hey, I saw your bag on someone else's page. How can I get one? How can I buy from y'all? I want to buy some of your stuff. And then we just posted more and more and more and more. And see, now I think we're almost about 40,000 followers. And during 2020, during the COVID lockdown, we sold several $1 million of product on Instagram.
Wow.
So it's a really good platform to use. Just like Drew was saying, you want to connect with people, you want to talk to them, you want to do deals with them, you want to see who the good guys are. There's some shady people on there.
For sure.
But, you want to do you want to deal with the honest people, and make connections, and comment on their pages and interact in their pages and groups, and get your name out there.
Right.
Do lives and stuff like that, so people can see who you are, that you have some stuff, that you're a real person and not just a scammer on the other end. Because lately I've seen tons and tons of scamming posts on there, and so it's you have to make a name for yourself, and you have to be a trusted name that the majority of the community knows. And and because since there's a lot of scammers right now, people are just trying. A lot of people, from what I hear, are they find a good seller and they just stick with them. They're not really looking around and trying to buy from 10 different people. So once you make that,
client base,
get your reputation built, and then people will once you do a good transaction, they're going to buy from you again and again and again. As long as there's good transactions and the trust is built, they'll just keep coming.
Now, as far as payment and what have you, this is just from personal experience. I would stick within, if you're talking about PayPal in general, I would stick within goods and services just because of the protection. And when we were starting off, we did a lot of friends and family, and PayPal has an algorithm built in that tracks all of your transactions, and it will ban you right off the bat and hold your money, possibly take it. So, and it just protects you. I mean, if you do get into a shady situation and you don't get the product that you want, or somebody tries ripping you off, you sent it and it was delivered to their house, you have that protection.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah, so Blake, you do pay a fee for the goods and services.
Yeah, but
right.
It's well worth it. And if you go to, and this is what, us forming our LLC late last year or early this year, you're able to write off those PayPal fees. So, you get a deduction off your taxes as an expense, and you get that protection and that peace of mind. So, and if you get into Bitcoins, like we just sold a coin for before fees $4,500. We need that protection.
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody has $4,500 laying around.
And that's the two approaches that were different when we first started this question. Was basically I needed the bankroll and I needed the connections, but Blake came in with the connections. Blake came in with the bankroll, and all you had to do was say, "I got $500,000 in gold in front of me. Let me take a photo." Or I have this really cool bar in front of me. Let me take a photo. For me, at first, it was like I had 5 coins, and like maybe I can flip this coin so I can buy 2 more other coins, And so it really all depends on where you are on your journey, and then how that will fit for you. But now I'm on kind of the same journey as Blake. where I would just be like, this is a cool coin. I really enjoy it. I picked it up at the show, and I picked up 50 coins at the show. You know, I'm only showing off like a few because my end goal would be to get them on the phone, or my end goal would be for them to get on our website, because, you know, you have so many different things to choose from in terms of inventory that posting everything on Instagram or Facebook long term would be a little bit tougher, like I was telling you earlier. So it all depends on where you are in time. If you have money that you saved, or if you got through college debt free, or you know, it just has to be basically leveled up to what you can afford and what you can work on in terms of like a project.
What's your next question, Jacob?
Yeah, so Blake, you were kind of saying like you could just kind of start it off just posting pictures, just with your coins and your inventory without, wanting to sell. Do you guys suggest that I start doing that? Maybe just like start posting and then start getting those followers before I say like, oh, I'm selling this, or like how I'm selling whatever coin exactly.
Well, I mean,
I'll let Blake
Blake can answer.
I think it'd be a good strategy, strictly based on I've been seeing a lot of scammers on there. So
Right.
I think it would be a good strategy at this point in time to start like that. Post some of your coins. Talk about it. Tell about the coin. Tell about why you like it. How you came across it. Maybe if something interesting. History that might have been happening at that time. So when people come to your page and see it, it's not just, oh, this person just opened this page and now they got some random stuff for sale.
Right. Yeah.
Just to kind of bypass that, what a lot of people are seeing with the scammers and stuff right now.
They're just worried that you're from the Philippines and you want, $50 or something.
Yeah. So if you have stuff that you're showing your collection, you're like, oh, this is part of my collection. This isn't for sale. This is why I like it. Different things like that. It shows that you're not just there to put something up there with a price on it, hoping someone will pay you some money right off the bat.
Sure.
You're showing that you're trying to establish the trust and that you're part of the community and you're into all this stuff as well, and not just someone trying to make a buck on it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Document when you can. Even if it's just going to a coin show and talking with somebody, or going to a coin show and taking a picture. Just document your journey at your numismatic journey, because people will see that, and they will see themselves in you in a way, because a lot of these guys that are at shows are 65, 60, 70 years old, and a lot of them are like, when I was your age, I was heavily into coins, and I was doing this and I was doing that. And even people on Instagram, they're like, we just don't have that experience. So it's like, as much as you can, I would document about coins, about your collection, about who you are, because they want to see a name to a face, and they want to, they want to relate to you. They want to, you're almost like building a brand without telling people that you're building a brand, if that makes sense.
Right.
So when do you expect to, what's your timeline and expectation when it comes to, making money on coins, Jacob?
Kind of like as soon as possible kind of a thing, but I know it's just going to take time, and the amount that I was out of school, during the amount of time when I was just trying to graduate and everything, that was time lost that I didn't spend time at coin shows building those connections, rebuilding those connections that I've already had already. And so and I'm just like hesitant too with that was my next question about like an LLC. I already have my sole proprietorship, and I did that for eBay for a little bit, or just like eBay drop shipping, but now I kind of want to maybe establish myself as an LLC. I don't know if you guys recommend doing that, or so basically just I kind of want to start this off slowly, but eventually, I've obviously with a gold mine of like making money, of course, too. But yes, I do love and appreciate coins for what they are. But does that kind of answer your question?
So how much do you have any student loans?
No, debt free.
Okay. And
Parents help.
and from a bankroll perspective, you don't have to mention a number, but bankroll perspective, how much are we looking at? Like more than 5,000, more than 10,000?
I'd say a few thousand. I'd say like I'm looking 3,000-4,000 maybe.
So you're able to buy a few coins. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, what are your thoughts on that, Drew? I mean, instantaneous. I mean, if he shows 5 coins, one could be for sale, maybe.
Well, I guess my main concern for anybody that's really starting out is that do you have the eye for nice original coins that you would want to, like my saying for most of the coins that I buy is that it will hurt me to put the coin in the package because of how nice the coin is.
But we're not where he's at.
No, I know that, but I'm saying like if you was to pick out, like almost pick out coins like you were going to collect them, like get them for a good price, so that whenever someone will say, "Oh my gosh, Blake, you bought this coin. It's a 1892 CC grade MS63." And it's like, wow, he doesn't even have to put a price. Doesn't even have to put. The people just understand how nice the coin is, and that they've never had one in their hand before. And that doesn't have to do with like price range. It has to do with the look of the coin, the originality of the coin, and most of the time that's where people start to study CAC because basically they determine originality. They determine has it ever been cleaned. They determine has it ever been dipped, or is there a flaw with the coin? Is it great for the grade? So there's just a certain amount of knowledge that it takes with like either with bullion or with numismatics, where it's like if you were to show off a certain coin, you want to show off the coin that is the best bang for the buck, but also is the nicest, if that makes sense.
So
for sure.
So Blake, if you were in his position with $3,000 to $4,000, I guess how would you go about selling coins without looking like a scammer on Instagram and I guess getting your feet wet?
You just want to focus just on coins or like collector coins or bullion coins as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which one do you want to focus on?
Oh, you're asking me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he can give you an answer.
Collectors.
Okay.
Like numismatics.
Yes, then I would go like what Drew was saying. You want to find the nicest examples you can. When you're out there buying, when you're out there picking your inventory, you want to go with the nicest looking stuff you can get, the best price you can get, and then with the limited amount of money, I would try to focus on the fastest, most popular selling coins at the moment. Mm-hmm. So, you can get that information from other coin shops, other coin dealers. You can just randomly walk in a coin shop and be like, hey, what y'all's best selling coin here? And they'll tell you what it is, and it's most of the time it's going to be a Morgan dollar of some sort of Morgan dollar. So
for sure.
Someday, some mint mark, some variety, they're going to, it's going to be usually that. So you want to find the fastest, most popular coin at the time and try to focus on those. And then once you sell those and you start making some more money, then you can expand into maybe other nice coins that might not move as fast, but will help you to expand and, get different collectors who might only collect that type of coin. Even though it's not a fast selling coin or it's not super popular, you will tap into that market and they'll start seeing that, this guy has he has this large cent or whatever, I like large cents, and no one really has that many, but I bought one from this guy. Maybe he can find me some more, and they'll start just sending you list of dates you need. So then that kind of gets you a customer ahead of time, that you know what they want, that you know what they want to buy before you just go out and just start randomly buying stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a good there's also a good thing to know as well, is that you can find a lot of wholesale sheets online as well of certain coins. So say like, I know a guy that goes to a show. His name's Jake, and basically, you're wanting to buy collector coins, but there's also like, so I would say they're Morgan dollars are selling right now, but it just like I said, there's a certain eye. So, and there's a lot of people that work in the collector space and collector coins differently. So there's people that literally go to coin shows to buy for wholesalers, and there's literally people that go to coin shows to buy the most original, the most nice looking, so they can bring them back to their clients. And so the way we kind of started out with us was that we would buy Morgan dollars, and we would buy stuff, and then say if we didn't have someone that would buy it within a week, we would have that wholesaler out, where we would be like, okay, well, if it doesn't sell in 3 days, or 4 days, we would pack it up, and they would send us e-check before the weekend so we can go and buy more coins. So, and then there's also now we're in the position where it's like, over time, when you have more capital, you want to have more inventory that is very nice, and then that reaches more people. So like, but in the beginning, like I said, if you find really nice original coins, and the way that I normally stumble into series is I go to a coin show and I'm like, oh my gosh, that coin's awesome. I've never collected a large cent, never bought a large cent, or I never bought an early date Mercury dime, or I've never bought this, but that coin is amazing, right?
Well,
Right.
And that's what kind of gets me hooked, because for me, I kind of work it different. It's like, I fell in love with the coin. How can I figure out how to sell it? And then I have to work out from there, right? And so sometimes it's like, I love this coin so much that I bought it. Now I'm going to figure out how to sell it. And sometimes that takes a lot of work. And but after a while, like I said, that I'm started getting into coins where I like, man, I love this coin, I love that coin, and then I start making content about it. So it's kind of like just scaling it out as much as you can, but it really starts with falling in love with a certain coin that you like, and then also the community you would like as well. But I could share some examples with you later if you want.
Something that you're starting to notice, Jacob, is coin shows are very important, and it may be difficult for where you are in your area, but with a coin show, you're able to go and you're able to buy many coins and talk to many dealers and see the prices that these many dealers have. So, for example, if you go to buy an 1896 Morgan dollar and you see one at a table for $50, you can shop around and find the best price and compare that to Gray Sheet and the other data points. So, and aside from buying and getting the social experience, usually they don't charge a tax, and you don't have to charge a fee. It's usually all cash, so you don't have to go. For example, Drew started off sourcing on eBay or through Instagram, mostly not face-to-face. And when you're talking about that, you have a fee coming in from buying the coin and a fee going out. So when you go to buy from a coin show, you get those connections, and you also eliminate a fee on one side. So it's very valuable, and you're able to see a lot of coins all at the same time. And coin dealers are very knowledgeable, and they'll allow you to see basically whatever coin they have, unless they're really crummy and they think that you're a criminal. But they're going to allow you to see every coin that's in their case, and they may talk your ear off about it, but you'll get good exposure.
Yeah, and the best part about a coin show too is that you can. Someone's like, oh, I don't want to drive 4 hours to a coin show, but they would wait 5 days to get their coin in the mail so they can sell it. So I'd be like, I'm going to drive 4 hours, and I'm going to go to this coin show because I have all those coins that I can get, and then I can drive home another 4 hours, and then I can get them on my website, and then I can edit a video, and I literally do that all in the same day. So like, while people are waiting for one coin from eBay that they overpaid for that they're going to get in 5 days, And then what also kills you is when you're starting out is that if you're using PayPal to sell it, you're waiting 5 days to get it in. Then you're going to try to sell it. And then when you sell it, they're saying your funds will be available when the coin arrives at that person's house. So you trying to get your money back, you would want to buy from a coin show and then sell through a feeless payment method if you're a trusted individual. But that, like I said,
if they trust you,
it's just at first it's gonna be a little bit harder to sell stuff just because of how PayPal would treat you and then how people would treat you. But after a while, it's like yesterday we bought 2 old holders, old proof seated $half, old proof seated barber quarter, and we sold them the pair for $1,980. The guy sent it in Zelle in 5 seconds, and I got it at a coin show. The next day, I had $2,000 in my account. I only spent $1,750 on the coins.
And we mentioned social media, and when it comes to Facebook and Instagram, you have 2 completely different groups. With Instagram, you have a lot of younger people, a lot of older people haven't really gotten into Instagram. It takes a lot of, I guess, time for them to get into it. So you have a very young audience on Instagram. If you get into Facebook and the Facebook groups, you will see a lot of wholesalers, older dealers. They do have deeper pockets. So if you do find something that's big, it's going to be easier for you to possibly move it on Facebook in relation to Instagram just because of the demographic.
For sure. Yeah. Do you guys have like a list of coins that you're looking for before you step into a coin show, or do you just kind of have you already developed your eye enough to like, oh, I want this, or like, oh, I want that, or?
Yeah, well, my list, it would be 4 words. It'd be nice and original coins. And so that's very, like, that's a super broad explanation of it, but to kind of, to expand a little bit more, you're trying to find rare coins that fit your budget, that are for the best price. So like, we bought, this weekend, we bought a 1909 SVDB, an MS65 red brown. It was toned up and everything. And I had opportunity to buy it about 8 or 9 months ago, and I passed on it because I thought the market was too strong for what he was asking. But I bought it for $3,600 at the show.
Was that gray sheet?
Gray sheet's about $3,000.
Okay.
And they're selling for about $4,500, and without toning.
Off coin facts. That's
Yeah,
where I got the
coin
4,500.
facts. But so when I go into a show, I look for nice and original coins, and sometimes that's a broad scope. But like I said, what's the rarity of the coin? What's the condition of the coin? And can I sell that coin? So,
Right.
And that's where it starts to become like, okay, I have $3,000 or $4,000. I'm going to test the market on 4 or 5 coins with $1,000 and see what my potential clients that I end up running into would buy and like and want, and then how can I go look for new ones, right? And so my client list may look completely different from your client list on the same exact platform. And so just based on what you got, what you like, what you enjoy, and what, but that's why I try to create videos about what original coins look like. I'm trying to create CAC videos because a lot of people don't understand it, but CAC is just so important, so valuable, especially with understanding how numismatics works and grading works. And so when we try to include those videos, we try to say what's nice and original, and then like just me and you sitting here. I mean, we've since I've been at Blake's house filming stuff and working on stuff, we've had about 7 orders on our website, just because people like nice original coins. And like I said, I'd be happy to share some examples and even send you videos of stuff, just giving you information about what it would look like. And I even have ones that aren't nice and original because I didn't understand it, and so.
So do you have gray sheet, Jacob?
I just have the app. I'm not like subscribed to like the pricing guide or whatever.
Okay. I would say would you say that's very important, Blake? Gray sheet.
Yeah, you got to have that's a good basis.
Yeah, because the way that you were going to negotiate in a show, so this is all I do. I go into a show, I have Gray Sheet on my phone that I pay for $30 a month or something like that, and they all work on Gray Sheet. And if they know if they know that you don't have Gray Sheet, they will screw you.
They will ream you over.
Yeah, and so
Really?
So what I do is there's things that are high on Gray Sheet, so Gray Sheet's too high or Gray Sheet's too low.
It's a data point. It's simply a data point.
Yeah, so I try to find Gray Sheet is low on something, and I also, finding those parameters, nice original coin, and I would say okay, Gray Sheet 75, they're selling for 120. It's a nice original coin, and I'm like, well,
give them the VDB example.
Yeah, so I would walk up to him, just say and I pull up Gray Sheet, and I tell him, oh, let me check Gray Sheet on this coin and see what it's worth. And so that's where it would be like a negotiating strategy, because you would say, I have the Bible, you have the Bible. Now let's see the truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then.
So what was Gray Sheet on the VDB?
So Gray Sheet's 3,000 on the VDB, but they're selling for 4,500 without toning.
And he saw that on CoinFacts.
Yeah,
so
and
two data points.
And so when you're starting a dealer off, though, on a nice coin, you just have to whip out Gray Sheet on them and then say that, because he's going to look at Gray Sheet and then he's going to try to price it up from that. But when you tell him you know Gray Sheet and you actually can prove that you know Gray Sheet, then you're already starting with the stronger hand in the negotiation.
So when he told you the VDB was worth 3,600, or he was going to sell it for 3,600, Drew, what was your thought?
I thought that I could make at least $900 on the coin.
Because that's what recent auction records told you, right?
Yeah.
On CoinFacts.
And he wouldn't negotiate, and he knew exactly what he was doing. But
because it's a key date. But
the guy down the way, I bought a Mercury dime from him. I think Gray Sheet was like $105. And he was looking at Gray Sheet, looking back up at me. And I already knew what Gray Sheet was. I pulled it up on my phone. I said, hey, Gray Sheet's $125. That's a nice coin. What do you want to pay? And recent comps were $175. So I think I ended up paying $10 more than Gray Sheet, and I just threw it on the website, and it sold for $175 like I wanted it to. But that's just something that you have to start out with, because they're looking for if they have the upper hand, and the way they're going to figure that out is if they pull out Gray Sheet and you don't even know what Gray Sheet is.
So
you need to know Gray Sheet when you walk into the deal, and you need to know if Gray Sheet's lower than those comps or higher than those comps. So if Gray Sheet's $100 on a coin and they're selling for $65 on eBay constantly, then you're going to say, I'm not going to pursue that coin even if it's nice and original, because I will not make the margin that I need. But like I was saying, if you find a coin that's $3,600, and that could be from any scale, any price range, and you know it's selling it for $4,500, and you know what a nice original coin looks like, you're already going to win the battle without even starting the fight, because you're going to already know what Gray Sheet is, and you're already going to, and it even gets better over time, because you're going to be able to buy a few coins from the person. Like even how working bigger scale deals, I bought, I think, 8 or 9 coins from Minden Coins, which is a guy who was at the Bossier City show. And what I would do is I would basically buy 4 or 5 coins. I beat him down a little bit on each one of them, and then the one that I really needed the room on, I'd leave that for the 6th coin, and then I would work that. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like
a bundle.
Yeah, you need to have Gray Sheet, because if you don't pay close to Gray Sheet on the coins that matter, you're going to lose more than $30 a month.
Right.
So if you started off with 3,000 or 4,000, Drew, what would the makeup be of that $3,000 or $4,000 in inventory?
So you need my main focus would be variety, originality, and rarity. So
I know, but what would the value of the coins be? 15 coins at $100, 15 coins at $200. Give us a mixture here.
I guess the broad answer would be I'd be willing to buy any coin if it was. I mean, you're going to keep hearing back to this nice and original. So say if you go through a whole show and you have $3,000 or $4,000, when we used to have $3,000 or $4,000, I would find the nicest examples in that show that would fit my budget, and then I would work from there. So like if I found a 1909S Lincoln Cent that was $150 and VF 25, and I would go to the other tables and do the same exact thing. It really just depends on what's at that show that week. That's the nicest coin for the most affordable price. So, and if it's a variety, like if you only have $4,000 to spend, I wouldn't advise you going to buy 10 of the same coin. I wouldn't advise you to go buy 10 Morgan dollars, because that's just alone would be bad.
Because you're cornering yourself to only Morgan dollar lovers.
Yeah, you'd want you'd want a seated piece, and then you'd want maybe a Mercury dime that's an early Mercury dime like a 1916 or a 1921 that's a little bit of a better grade, maybe VF, or possibly an overdate, like stuff like that. You're gonna want to expand your base, and the way to do that really is just having a variety at any type of budget that you have.
We're specifically talking about slab coins. Why would that be more important than possibly raw? I mean, what are the perks of looking at slab coins early on?
Well, I would say that the slab coin is in its own cage. So, and what that means basically is that you had an independent grader look at that coin, and it's in a certain it's in that case because of the grade and what happened to the coin and the lifespan of the coin. When you're handling a raw coin, the animal's out of the cage. There could be a million different things wrong with the coin. They can remove corrosion from the coin. There could be rim corrosion on the coin. They could have had altered the surface. They could have changed the date of a coin by scraping off. A million different things can happen to a coin. So sometimes I would just say work with coins that are in holders, because they're in there for a reason. They're nice coins for a reason. And sometimes when you run into raw coins, they're not in a holder for a reason.
And you could buy a raw coin that's completely destroyed, and that could be a part of your personal collection because you can't sell it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so sometimes when you buy a coin that's graded, you can go, wow, this coin, I can see why this coin received that grade, and I could see what happened to the coin. Maybe there's a hit on the rim, a light scratch, something that would have net graded it down. And then that would develop your eye into raw coins, and then that would develop your skill set into grading coins by sending them in. So
when would you advise them to start sending coins in, if any?
Honestly, with the wait times and everything right now, unless it's like an extremely great coin that you would understand completely, no problems with it, had a few independent people that you can reach out to and ask about it, I wouldn't even. I mean, I don't even touch grading coins unless someone asks me for help, just because you're gonna be waiting 3 or 4 months.
You can't afford to with $3,000 to $4,000. I mean, You're just holding up too much capital. And when Drew's referring to grading a coin, I mean, if he finds a coin that's heavily toned that he bought for $25 and he thinks that he can flip it for $250, the upside is fantastic. He can wait because it's only $25. I mean, if your bankroll is $3,000, $25 is not going to be significant, and you won't even lose sleep over it. But I mean, if you're trying to submit something for $150 and you're putting $50 into submission fees, and then you got another 3 or 4 months maybe, and it gets back the grade you don't want, then I mean, you're screwed.
Yeah, like a perfect example of that was that we bought a 1916 Denver Mercury dime, which is, the very low mintage. The coin looked like it was like a G6, a $1,500 coin.
How much did we buy it for, Drew?
We bought it for $950. We submitted it four months ago.
Last year
we submitted
in
it.
November.
Came back counterfeit.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
Came back counterfeit. That held up $1,000.
Don't buy any 16Ds that are in a holder.
Yeah, don't buy any
NGC
16Ds.
or PCGS.
Yeah.
Because what people do with some of these third-party grading companies is they take they take another coin from a different year with the Denver Mint, and they glue them together, and they put them in some of these third-party grading cases.
Or they add a mint mark to a 1916 Mercury dime. So what? Like I was saying, like Casey was saying, if there's a win-win coin. So basically, if I bought a coin for, I bought this tone Washington quarter that I think I can get, if it's straight grades, I can get $250 for. I spent $8 on it at the show. I could send it in an econ for $30. I could send it in a regular for $50. That capital being gone for you, for me, for anybody is not a big problem. But like if you're offered a $1,000 Mercury dime that is on the edge of being suspicious, and you only have 4,000 to work with, you already understand that you either win $500 in a few months or you get screwed. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
You're going to be focusing on a lot of volume for a very long time until you have a big enough bankroll to submit stuff. And I mean, our bankroll, we went to this this last show. We went to this last show with $12,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was our bankroll. We have we documented 2021's inventory from last year. We're still sitting on $35,000 in inventory from last year. So we have a decent sized bankroll, right?
That's just not even the 2022 stuff.
Our 2022 is far beyond that, but we have a bankroll to wait on, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a lot of volume for a very long period of time until you're able to graduate into a VDB that's $3,600 or a nice coin that's $1,000, and you can sit on it for 3 or 4 weeks and get that $250 profit at the end of it.
For sure.
Yeah.
And with the inventory that you guys hold, do you plan on like trading any of it too? Like if you have a coin for a few months that you've been trying to sell, do you just end up trading it or just like cutting your losses, or how does that work for you guys?
So, and Drew can answer this after, but our thought process is we have become more knowledgeable within the space. So if we have $50 in a coin, right, and we'll lose $5 on it, no skin off our nose. We can document the loss, and it can affect our profit for the month and then the year. If we get that $50 back and it ends up helping us buy a $200 coin that makes us $100, then we made that $5 back. I mean, don't be so prideful to the point where you will not take a loss, because it will hold back progress and it will prevent you from having free cash to buy coins.
Well, and also, what I would say is rephrase the way you think about a loss. What I would say is that you're not losing $5, you're getting $50 back. So if you're going to lose $5, you're going to say you spent $55 on a coin and it's only worth $50, and you've held it for 6 months and then you sell it for a $5 loss. For me, I'm getting that $50 back.
I'm getting another opportunity.
Right now it's in ransom mode. I can't get that money back. It's stuck. It's sunk. So sometimes it's like I'm getting that $50 back.
For sure.
We don't trade very often, to answer your question, but we are sitting on some stuff, and I guess I'm the person that kind of doesn't want to take a loss. And if we do take a loss, it is, for example, if we're gonna we have a 1893S, right, that we spent $2,000 on, and there's a wholesaler that'll give us $1,800 for it or whatever. I don't really want to take a loss this month because of our expenses and our ratio. So if next month is better, then we'll take that loss then. It really just depends on, okay, if I really need that $200 or $1,800, I may cash out now. I mean, it really depends on how much cash you have available, but we hardly do trades. And if we're just tired of seeing it, then we'll take a loss and just get the money back.
How do you get rid of inventory? Like if you don't need it, like if you just need to, or just want to, like if there's just something that's not moving at the shop, what do you kind of do to get rid of it in a way? Because there's some stuff that might come through that just don't appeal to many people.
Kind of like that foreign.
Some stuff we just stick in the back. It just piles up.
See what happens with it. Maybe
because you never know what the market's going to do next month, next year. If you have the money, some of the stuff we're not worried if we sell it instantly or not.
For sure.
We just stick it in the back, and stuff comes and goes and comes and goes. Trends come and go. Popularity of stuff comes and goes. So some stuff we just end up sticking in the back. We have our website. We can pop it on the website and put a sale sticker on it.
Well, you mentioned the other day that you went to post something that didn't have a lot of popularity before and nobody wanted to buy, and then you waited a few months and you posted it again, and people were like, "Oh my gosh, I want all of those."
Yeah.
Like the pesos you were talking about.
Yeah, the little silver Mexico, what are they called? Ugly pesos or something. 10% silver. I bring them. Brought them to the shows, mini show. Keep them in the coin shop. There wasn't much interest in them. Someone might buy a few here, a few there. We had thousands of them, and just randomly one day I just posted a picture on Instagram and had 50, 60 people messaging that they wanted to buy them all.
Okay.
So it's things come and go, but if you don't have to sell something at a loss, then I wouldn't do it.
Right.
Like they were saying, if there's something, an opportunity comes up, and you need some extra money, and you're going to make a lot of money on a deal, and you have to sell something you had at a little loss, but you're going to make more money on the future deal you're about to do.
It's the overall thing.
You have to win. You have to win more than you lose. Like with trading equity stocks and various things like that. You don't have to have a perfect record. You just have to make more money than you lose.
For sure. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because pricing structure is going to change. You could buy a $2,000 coin today that's been super popular, and then the next month coin sheet comes out and it's $500 cheaper, and you check auctions and no one's really bidding on that coin. So prices can change pretty quick. But I wouldn't recommend selling something at a loss just to do it. There has to be a reason why.
For sure. Yeah. That makes sense. Speaking of gray sheet, let's go back on that. Sounds like you guys just recommend just like pulling it out whenever I've been more like, I won't say secretive, but just like, okay, let me look at something really quick. But you guys just automatically, okay, just whip out gray sheets or Coinfax. I've had Coinfax and eBay is the main price guide that I use, like sold auctions and stuff like that. But you recommend just like flipping out.
Every time you look at a coin, you got to look through all those data points every time, and don't be scared of it because it is a bargaining tactic, like Drew mentioned.
Well, and that's the thing when you start out with this. Like, say if there's a sticker on a coin, right? It just depends on when you want to employ saying gray sheet.
Well, so I wouldn't even go to gray sheet first. I would ask them, okay, what's your best on this? Off the bat, what's your best? And then if it's not where you want to be, looking at those data points, you go about saying, oh my gosh, well, gray sheet's this or Coinfax is that.
Yeah, whenever you can throw it into a sentence, that's more important because it's like someone had, like I was saying, someone has a sticker on a coin, like $105, gray sheet's at $85. I pick it up and I'm like, oh, that's nice. What's your best? And they say, well, I can knock $5 off. And I'm like, well, gray sheet's this. Like, I'm trying to make my margin. So anytime you can throw it in as like, what gray sheet is and where gray sheet is and like, because most of those dealers are going to want to buy 10, 20% back of sheet. So
for sure, yeah.
So just and most of the way you're going to actually be able to practice this and work on it is that if you get into a show setting and then you start to use it as lingo, as just like as you're trying to kind of work for anything, you just want to start to use it as vocabulary, and being able to interject it at the right time. And also that's the thing, when sometimes I use gray sheet as an indicator, but still I have to pay up a certain amount for a coin because it's one of the nicest I've seen. There's those once in a while coins where you have to do breakers. That. Yeah, because it's like, because a coin dealer, once you say all that stuff, he could look at you and go, okay, well, go to this, walk around this show, walk around the next show, walk around the next show, and you find one that's nicer than this one.
I can assure you that we'll tell you. And
you bring that to me. And I'm like, well, he's right. And so sometimes it's like saying, if it's a middle of the road coin and someone needs it, and then you should try to work on gray sheet. But I would always use gray sheet. But then at the end of the deal, it's like, is the coin nice enough to warrant that premium that you're going to pay?
Well, I wouldn't even say gray sheet. You need to use all data points available to you. Gray sheet is not the Bible. If gray sheet doesn't match up with Coinfax and auction records, don't use gray sheet. Don't use Coinfax if it doesn't benefit you. You got to use any data point that benefits you. Drew mentioned earlier, right? If Gray Sheet's higher than Coinfax, don't even look at the coin. I don't think that's completely true. Like if Gray Sheet's higher than Coinfax, you go into it using the data point from Coinfax. Well, I look at Coinfax, and auction records and eBay records say this is $20 too expensive. I can't even make any money on that. What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but most times the Gray Sheet's not your Bible, but the Gray Sheet's the dealer's Bible.
Yeah.
So that's where most of the time where it's like
to a fault.
Well, they're selling at this. It's like, well, I don't care what they're selling at. This is what Gray Sheet says, and that's what most dealers do. So I would say 80 to 90% of them just use Gray Sheet. So me whipping out a sold comp would be like, it's almost useless because all they're wanting to do is make a profit. So if they pay 10% back of sheet, and then you're saying, well, it's only worth 20% back of sheet. They're saying, well, I'm not making money, so I'm not selling.
And something that you should take into consideration and you should probably look at right after this phone call is with PCGS and NGC, they produce coin holder history. And what we've been seeing a lot lately is collectors go to appreciate the holder that it's in. So for certain periods of time, for example, there's the doily holder that was only produced for a month in the late 80s, early 90s at PCGS. And we have found coins in those doily holders and have flipped them for a few $100s more. So looking at the history, there's a lot of older dealers that do not know holder history that will make that mistake, and you're able to make some decent money off of that.
Yeah.
So, for example, we bought a peace dollar in a doily holder for $108 at a show in Houston, and we flipped it for $450 on our website. $425 on our website.
That was cheap too. Probably should have sold it for $525 around there, but yeah, just the best thing to do is basically no more.
And they'll put it at Gray Sheet. They'll put these rare holders at Gray Sheet, and it's like, okay, I just made a few $100s off that. And you only put, for example, if you bought the peace dollar for $108, you're only into it $108. That's like 3% of your bankroll or whatever.
Right.
If you have 3,000.
Mm-hmm. So, and my best advice on most things over time is to have the best knowledge, and then have the most amount of people you can reach with the coins that you buy. So, like I said, we study holder history, we study originality, we study who buys coins and where they buy them and where they pay the most. They're going to do it online. Who sells coins the cheapest? They're going to do it at shows. So we buy at shows, sell online, and then we have them. We're trying to acquire the most amount of knowledge so that we can capitalize on almost any deal that we walk into with coins.
Okay. Yeah.
So
when you talk about originality, what are some good? I was like, when I think of originality, I think of like luster and everything, that original like coin luster. What do you also mean about like originality and everything?
Yeah, so there's original coin luster, and there's also so the coins with basically NGC and PCGS both let coins pass that have been cleaned or old cleaning, and they've been filled back in with either toning or whatever else. Originality basically means from the time of its inception, if it was circulated or not, has something happened to this coin, and did PCGS or NGC let it go by? So sometimes you would see coins that, like a seated quarter that's in a holder, it looks completely white. It's VF25 or VF30, completely white, like it's been dipped out of its mind, just so it would be in a holder and people think they would like it. But really the coins that you want to look for that are in VF or even circulated grades are going to be ones that still have some remaining luster on it, but also are very dark and have been through the elements and have
not too dark though.
Yeah, but I can, like I said, I can share some examples with you, like via video and stuff. But
it has to look like it's been around for 200 years and it's been through stuff, but it's not completely destroyed.
Yeah, like Morgan dollars. People think like, oh, Morgan dollars are blast white. People are gonna want a blast white circulated seated quarter, and I'm like, that's not true at all.
It's not possible.
Yeah, it's not possible.
unless you want to pay
Basically,
thousands of dollars for
well,
them.
based on the climate that any of them have been in for a certain amount of time, that's impossible. And so when you see something like that, someone will say, like John Albany at CAC will say that's not original, and I will not sticker that coin. And then people, you could still sell it. It just won't be at the premium, a higher premium, and it won't be like it won't feel like a collector coin because people are buying for the history. People are buying for the story of the coin, and so the least amount of times you can do that, where it's like, yeah, it surfed around for 125 years, but before someone graded it, they dipped it 3 times to try to get rid of the gunk on it, which actually the gunk on it was just originality.
And it destroys its outer,
and then people are like,
value.
that's the story of the coin.
So would you advise him to get into colored coins? And if so, where would you start?
Colored coins are pretty tricky.
Toned coins, I mean.
Toned coins are very tricky, but
look at color progressions. Look at color progressions.
Monster Tone Morgans is a good website for understanding color progressions on a Morgan dollar. With most toning, you won't want to buy it raw. Great collections, auction archives are the best for anything that's really toned.
If it's in a slab, in a PCGS slab, you have a very good understanding of what is real versus what is not real. There's a lot of artificially toned stuff that gets through NGC.
Yeah, and so most of the time with toning, you're gonna, it's gonna make you go, oh my gosh, wow, I need to, like, it's just gonna have that same kind of appeal, but it's gonna have that with color.
It has to be fantastic, and we're mentioning toning because you go into some of these shows and the demographic is 65 to 75 years old, and they absolutely hate toning whatsoever, right?
It's damage.
They have thought, okay, blast white or nothing, right? You go into these shows and they're pricing these tone coins below gray sheet or at a fantastic deal. They have to be fantastic toning. So if you go into this deal and it's like, okay, gray sheet's 80 and they're selling it for 75 because they view it as damage, and you could sell that for $150 because of the toning and it's so spectacular, that's where we've been able to capture a good profit on tone coins. But preferably in a slab. Well, I do all slab currently until you fully understand the color progression and what's artificially toned and what's not, and stick mostly with PCGS because they don't let a lot of things through and they get true views. So,
yeah. And Jacob, do you we're probably gonna wrap up here. Do you have one last question that you have for us before we hit the road?
Yeah, for sure. No, I appreciate you guys' time. Business funding. Do you guys just do that based off of your profits, or do you have some sort? You guys pay like a credit or something like that? How do you guys get your funding?
You want me to go? All right. So at our shop, we've been there a long time, so we've got a pretty nice, substantial
bankroll.
Yeah, bankroll to use, but there's all kinds of different ways to get funding. You could get a
SBA loan.
Yeah, you could get an SBA loan, which is what I would recommend. Starting out, you just go to, I think it's SBA.gov or something like that, and then you can talk to somebody. They'll walk you through how to get the loan. It's a nice long loan and low interest rates, low payments and stuff like that. And they even have counselors, basically other business owners who are successful at what they did, and they're basically donating their time to assist you. They'll give you guidance and tips and sit down and talk to you and stuff like that. So that's a real good one. Some people's banks have really good personal loan rates or business loan rates. You can take advantage of that, or do they have like the line of credits kind of thing, where if you don't, they say, okay, well, you seem, you got a good credit score, you haven't messed up here. We'll give you a $50,000 line of credit. Use it how you want. And so let's just say something comes through where you need some instant cash or instant funding for it, you can pull it out of there. If it's a good interest rate on it, replace it back so you're not paying interest on it for long term. That's
Right.
another way people use. And once you start building relationships and trust with different different dealers and stuff like that, you can literally buy millions of dollars from your customer and not have a penny come out of your bank account. By knowing who you're going to sell it to, knowing how much they're going to pay, and how fast they're going to pay you. So the more trusting business relationships you have out there, you can get this, use this type of strategy, where you can just call them and say, hey, I'm buying this deal. It has $1 million of gold in it, or whatever the scenario is. This is what it is. I'm selling it all to you. Let's lock in a rate right now. And simultaneously, both parties are doing a transaction on this large collection, and you're technically writing a check to your customer. At the same time, this other entity is either wiring you the money, so you have basically the money in your account first, or send a e-check or something like that. So you technically didn't need to have a penny to buy millions of dollars worth of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts, Drew? I'll go. I'm finance. So we have done it all cash, no debt whatsoever, all cash. And I mean, if it really depends on your debt level and your familiarity with debt. I wouldn't necessarily advise it, but I'm somewhat of a cash purist. It really depends on how much experience and how much confidence you have. I mean, I'm not totally outruling an SBA loan, but if you haven't done this for 6 months and you're really getting momentum and you're really confident and your bankroll is not 3,000 or 4,000, it's like 10 or 15 now.
Mm-hmm.
That may be a good step, but we have done all cash. Now this may be an alternative way of getting some cash or some funding, but if you have a family member that trusts you, that believes in you, and you pitch them this idea and they let you borrow $5,000 for 6 months or whatever, that could be an alternative way of getting some cash and using it, and then giving them maybe a small amount of interest on top, or them just letting you use it for the time being, since they don't have any use for it. What are your thoughts, Drew?
The best thing I would say is that everything has its time to grow. And the way that what that means is that say if I'm say if I'm selling, if I can't even keep a coin on my website, or if there's a certain threshold that I'm selling at that I would say I need a loan to meet. So say if I was expanding into a building, or I wanted to hire an employee, that's a certain time where I'd have to use that from my tool belt as something to expand to scale. From the time being, I would say no. I would say mainly work on cash, because I've seen people that, I've even seen some dealers. I don't know if Blake's seen some dealers, but he's like, people pull out a loan. They don't know what nice coins are. They don't have any clients. They don't have all these things, and then they owe the money bank. They owe the bank money. All of it's tied up in stuff that they can't sell, and that ends up becoming kind of like a domino effect. So like for us, at a certain point, we want to have enough knowledge, understanding, and client base where it's like, if we took out this loan, would it be okay? Could we suffer? Could we take the blow, or could we use this tool to our advantage rather than, coming in half cocked? So like I said, it just depends on your journey. And there's a different scaling of growth with everything. It doesn't have to do with finances or anything, but like even I ask myself stuff every day. can I do 3 episodes a week? Can I do 2 episodes a week? Can I do 1 episode a week? Everything is in moderation. Everything is based on what you're available to do, and that starts with finances. That starts with everything. And so it's just that growing. It's like a growing pain. But like I said,
For sure.
you have to understand yourself and like where you want to go with what you want to do, and that all becomes, in time. And so you're hearing some of these yin and yang answers because Blake and his dad built that business, and they're at a certain point now where it's like if they wanted to open a new store, they're making big plays. But if someone that, say, it has 3,000 or 4,000 in bankroll and wants to do something, I wouldn't advise opening a store on a bank loan, or I wouldn't advise buying $100,000 in inventory on a bank loan, just because you just don't have that. But both answers are so very important because at a certain point there's that fork in the road where you're like, there's gonna have to be a point to where I have to change it up, or I have to add something, or I have to seek someone that's been here before's advice.
Well, and it's like with us, right? I asked my brother 1 or 2 days ago, okay, if you had $500,000, what would you spend it on? And I could ask you the same question, Jacob. If you had $50,000 tomorrow, what coins would you buy, and how would you sell them? And if you don't have the answer, then it might not be the right time for that amount of financial backing or loan.
Yeah, and if you have a problem in your business, someone's like, for me, I'm like, Mom, nothing's been selling for 2 weeks. She's like, what if I give you another this much amount of money? And I'm like, the problem is not how much money I have. The problem is I can't get anybody to buy my coins. And how can I fix that problem? So understanding what the problem is, how to fix it.
Your problem is personified with more money.
Yeah, so throwing money at a problem sometimes isn't the fix. Sometimes the fix is finding a new way to sell, finding a new way to buy, doing more things in packages. Like we were doing stuff in packages where we would give a free war nickel away to add someone's silver stack and give them a note and a letter. And we would do that in every package. Or they would do the canvas bags.
Or free shipping.
Yeah, so stuff like that. That's find the problem and know what it is to fix it. Don't lull yourself into things that are temporary fixes. Like, we need the cash this week. We need to go get a business loan. But what would you do with that money anyway, right? So it's it has to be a slow growth, but it has to be, you just don't want to get ahead of yourself.
And another, I guess this is a good piece of advice that we use, and this has probably been my last comment, but when it comes to shipping and what have you, when you're early on, I would insure a majority of the items. We use Pirate Ship, and we use a thermal label printer. You might have to start off with printing out your sheets and what have you, but that's not the important part. When you go to ship it out, if you have somebody near you, you may be alone, but check the address multiple times on the package. We ran into a situation early on, probably a year ago, where we were going to ship out $1,300 in a package, and we failed to check it twice. We didn't have that procedure in place, and we were going to ship out that $1,300 to the wrong address, and
it was a P.O. box,
meaning it could be shipped to a P.O. box and lost, and we could not get any of our money back, and all of that product would be held up in somebody else's P.O. box. So, and we've had plenty of other people send $10,000 in coins to PCGS, and it'd be the wrong address. So, double check your addresses, make sure it matches PayPal, everything, because you don't want to lose that kind of money.
Anything closing you want to say, Blake?
No, pretty much hit all the major points to it. It's something it's not going to be like instantaneous results. You got to work for it. Doing slow and steady gains is going to be the way to do it. Don't want to seem like you're eager, trying to just like the scammers on there. They're way too eager to just throw something out there, try to push stuff on people. So you wanted to, take your time, gain the trust, do stuff the right way. Like I said, don't get ahead of yourself. It can grow into a monster real quick. So you want to pace yourself. You want to really plan out what the coins that you do buy. You want to think ahead where you're going to sell them, how you're going to sell them, what the interest is on it. You want to have a plan before you're buying that, or as you're buying that coin, before you're buying that coin, have a plan. Where is this going as soon as I'm buying it? Am I going to hold on to it? Do I think the market's going up? Do I think it's going sideways? I need to sell this tomorrow. You need to have a plan. Think of these things ahead of time, so you don't get something and just get stuck with it.
Right.
You asked all the good questions. The guys gave you some real good answers, and I think that you're starting off in a good spot, and if you got more questions, you can get a hold of them, and if they don't have an answer, they can contact me. If I might have an answer, I can help.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. Thank you so much, guys.
Yes, sir.
Hey, no
Thanks,
problem.
Franklin, for the call. We appreciate it, brother. I hope you have a great rest of your night, man.
Yeah, sorry it took us so long to get back to you. We have no excuse for it taking that long, but we look forward to talking to you in the future.
Oh, no, I really appreciate that. Sorry, I was late, too. I was talking to a friend 30 minutes before, so, yeah, I appreciate you guys coming on in. So, hopefully we'll stay in contact and everything if I have more questions and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Please reach out.